Hi, my name is Aldo Salazar from DLG, Luz and Salazar Attorneys. I'm an international attorney. I'm an attorney licensed in Mexico, and I'm also licensed here in the US, and I do mostly business immigration and corporate law. This is how I live my work.
Okay, so it's a pleasure being here with you. Thank you
you.
for your time. I know that your time is valuable. I know that
Like
as a
everybody's
fact.
time.
Yes, right? First question is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yes, my name is Aldo Salazar, and I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney in Mexico. I'm an attorney in the US. I've been an attorney in Mexico since 2000, and then came here to the US, and I went to Nurse University here in San Antonio. And I graduated in 2008, and I've been practicing immigration law and corporate law since 2008.
Okay, that's good. Why did you choose to study law, like to practice law? I think like a lot of people think, well, in the US, I think I know why you would study law. I think there's a lot of opportunities for it. But you personally, why did you choose that?
Honestly, it was more of an elimination process.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I definitely don't like math. I don't like, biology, chemistry. I'm not really good at drawing or anything.
Okay.
So I like to read. And so I was like, okay, sounds like law is a good option. And I liked it. And I mean, to this day, I don't consider myself a traditional attorney, even though I'm attorney twice because I went to school in Mexico and the US.
Okay.
But I like being a lawyer because I can help people, and I can develop into other areas that I like business, and the law is really involved in everything.
Yeah.
But I like to think of myself as a non-traditional attorney in that way. So I guess you don't have to know exactly what you want to do, but I tried it and I liked it, and I've stayed in there ever since. So.
Because it's not easy. And I feel like you're saying it's wide. Like you can do law in so many different areas that it's like, how do you choose? Like how did you go, like which route?
It's always a process of elimination and finding what you like. And I tried a little bit of criminal law, and I decided I didn't like it.
Okay.
I don't like doing litigation either. So I like business and transactions, and I like instead of fighting in court, which a lot of people like, I like building or helping my clients to build businesses and the visas that go with them, with those businesses. I like it, and I think I'm good at it. So, I mean, that's good enough for me to continue doing it.
Yeah. That's good. Well, you never know. Yeah, it's definitely sometimes like life takes you into so many different ways that you just need to choose, I guess, and kind of like pursue it, and then see what you feel more that it's what you want and what you like, and what like matches your personality too. Like you're saying, if you don't like to fight, most lawyers would like to fight, like read and like not fight, but like it's the adrenaline of the job.
I guess you have the traditional lawyer who goes to court and argues and wins cases, and for you, and divorce lawyers and
what you see on TV,
the personal injury attorneys. So then that's fine, but it's I mean, I'm more into I like business transactions. I like corporate law, and that goes well with the immigration law. I don't do deportation, for example, because that's a hard part. You have to go to court also, and again, I did a little bit of that at the beginning when I was here in the US, and
it's hard.
I mean, I guess I could do it. I just don't enjoy it as much. So I decided, okay, I don't want to do deportation. I like work visas, and like that part.
The bright side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it has its challenges. It's just I don't enjoy being in court, and I've been in court from time to time. I mean, I'll go if I have to, but
it's not the That's good. I mean,
it's
that's
not
good.
where I naturally flow, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's
Plus,
good
I have
to
to
know.
get a suit and all of that. And,
You don't like
you
to
know.
dress up for the part?
Well, it's just so hot in Texas, you know.
Yes,
it's like,
that's true.
And my neck's so wide.
Yeah, no, like, I never thought about that, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people do it also for the clothes, like you dress because you like. I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so you were saying that it has its things, you know, that it's easy for you because of your personality and what you decided to like filter in within the law side of it. But what would you say are the challenging factors, or what is the hardest part throughout your career, or has been the hardest part throughout your career on this that you do?
Well, so I avoid going to court and maybe losing a case, but then at the same time I sort of have the life of a family in my hands because a lot of my clients want to move to the U.S. So it is my responsibility to have a visa approved so they can come and live here. And if it doesn't get approved, I mean, they would need to leave. So the hardest part is having that responsibility and that burden of coming of having a family coming in and helping them to stay and to stay permanently. That's hard. So that stress can be hard sometimes, and you have to plan. Sometimes you try to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I call it with my clients like the Chinese, acrobats with like different dishes, and there's always all the dishes have to be spinning at all times.
Okay.
And you have to be taking care of deadlines and rules and also business growth. So there's a lot of different things that you have to be aware of.
Yeah.
And you have to have visibility of a case, and then you have to have visibility of all your cases, So that's a challenge, always having that visibility and then go back to your client and say everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, or not, like depending on the case.
Or
right?
we
Like
have
you
an
can-
issue,
Yeah, exactly.
or we need to solve this. So yeah, but to do that, you have to have visibility of where you are in the case, and deciding, okay, we need to do this at this point. So you have to plan.
Yeah, and because you build relationships, so like you get involved, like it's a long process sometimes. So I guess like you get involved with people, and then you get to meet them, and you develop that personal relationship, and then it's like, you can do so much, right? Like in the end, it's in your hands, but not like it's just. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to become like
Too
super
attached?
friends with my clients at the beginning, because imagine if my wife becomes friends with my client's wife, and then and sometimes just work is not easy, and sometimes there's like rough spots, and you may have disagreements, and so I try to wait until they're no longer my clients, or at least we're like over the difficult parts of it, and then at that point I can I mingle a little bit more with my clients. But in the meantime, I try to. It's not that I don't want to, but
to keep it professional.
It's just to keep it more professional, and just to be like, okay, and obviously my clients have their own goals. And for example, one of the biggest stresses for my clients are like school for kids. It's like we need this visa at this deadline because they want to go. They need to go to school. They need to start on this date. And for me, school for those children is not my number one priority. My number one priority is to get their case approved.
Exactly.
And that may take some more time, but my client try to make sure that they understand without them feeling that I don't care about those deadlines as well.
I see. Like to explain
so to explain, like, what, we may be at 1 or 2 months late, and they're like, oh no, this is,
but, and it happens. Yeah, it can happen.
Right.
You try not to, but I mean, every job has its good and bad, like you're saying, there's their ways. So now going to the fun part. Well, at least for me too. You like music, right?
I do love music. Yeah.
When did you decide? Did you discover law, and then did you always like music, or?
Yeah, so my dad used to play guitar, and and my mom she has a really beautiful voice, and they used to always, like every weekend, they used to sit down and they used to sing together,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I grew up with that, and then when I started junior high, I had to take up on one instrument. So I had a guitar at home, and so I was like, "Oh, guitar." So I started playing guitar when I was like 12 or 13, something like that. And I've always liked music, so it's always been part of my life. At a certain point, I was trying to decide whether to study law or study music.
Oh, really? Why not?
And I had a really good guitar teacher he's from Argentina.
Okay.
And he was a classical guitar player, and he was touring all over the world. And I was like talking to him, and he said, you could study music, but you could study law and continue with the music, and the music will always be there.
Okay.
So I think that was the best piece of advice,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. And music has always been there. There was a period, especially when I moved here to the States, where I stopped doing music. Maybe I was playing at home or something, so I left it. But then I took it back again in recent years, and I mean, I've had some experiences with professional musicians, and a little bit of little tour here and there, and that's fun.
That's good.
It's a good experience, but I don't think I want to be a professional musician. I guess
You chose
could.
right.
I think I chose right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good
Yeah.
to know. That's good.
Yeah.
That you have no regrets. That's good. And that
no.
you're still practicing. Like you didn't just let it go and that's it. Like you did what kind of like you follow the advice, a little bit. Like you perform and then you do the other one.
Yeah.
So between the work and the music and your life, your family and all, how do you balance? How do you live your work? How do you manage to put all these items together, kind of like you were saying in the office? Because sometimes it's easy to see it at the office and be able to kind of like see clients and see folders and see this and that and accommodate priorities and calendar and stuff. But then whenever we think about the big picture of our lives, then we don't see it as easy. We just go. And so how do you do it personally on that, like managing to live and work and enjoy and make a living,
So nowadays, what I do is try to plan periods of my year, but I was, we were talking before we started filming of the big picture, and asking yourself, what do you want to do at the end of your life? What do you want to have accomplished? And that helps me determine those goals.
Okay.
And then the goal for this year, for example, is just to continue growing a little bit with my office. Just hired a new person who started working with me. And I was telling you also that the main objective of hiring that new person was my sister, is to distribute the workload a little bit more. So not necessarily continue growing and handle more cases. I think that will come naturally.
Yeah.
But the goal is to have a little bit more time, because I'm really big on not requiring my employees to work on weekends or after hours. And I'm a firm believer that if they're happy and they feel appreciated, then they're gonna be better workers for me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've done through the years. Now, when you take a look at your day, you only have 24 hours, and the month only has a certain number of dates, and you have the weekends. So there's only a limited number of things that you can do. So I've been reading a lot of organization, and there's a lot of different ideas, but I started to get tired of reading, and I'm like, okay, I need to start doing my
Like
own
action.
system. So one of the things is there is not a specific system that works. So I took little ideas from there. You know, there's a book called Getting Things Done that is really good, and also Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one.
And they're all good, but I don't do exactly what they. I mean, I just take little things from different books.
Okay.
At the end, like for me, is against visibility. It's like, so you have your to do, right? But if your to do is in sticky notes that overlap, and you don't have the visibility, so that the main challenge is always to have
a vision,
a clear vision of what you have to do.
Exactly.
And then you put that on your calendar, and then at the end you're like, okay, so I'm not gonna finish everything I have to do at work during the day. I could probably work 24 hours and still not finish. So you're gonna have to stop at a certain time, and then after that, that's when you start doing the things that you want to do, or that you should be doing with your family. But to me, is the understanding of balance is that the idea of balance, I think, is a little bit wrong, because balance means that there's no movement. So when you balance things, they're equal. There's always a zero.
Yeah.
Or there's a 10 here and a 10 here, and there's no movement.
Okay.
And the universe is dynamic. The universe is not static. So I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but everything moves. So the idea of balance for me is that it's gonna be a little bit here. So when you drive, what do? You don't only drive static, right?
Okay.
So you're like, you swerve a little bit. So it's always these little movements.
Yeah.
So you have your main, but you stay in your lane. But even if when you're in your lane, you do little movements because the car maybe not perfectly aligned. So you have your main framework, but you have to, sometimes I have to work more.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fine if I have to work 10 hours and I'll just accomplish a lot of things. And sometimes your kid gets sick, or you're sick, or something else happens, or
you want to have fun, or
your dishwasher is broken and you have a water spill.
Yeah.
And then you have to devote more time to that, and your work is gonna suffer. So the idea of balance is always, if you understand, and that was hard, because for me it was just like work is number one. So that goes back to the idea of what do you want to do with your life, because you set your priorities. And I made the mistake in the past of putting work as number one. So if your number one priority is work, then you're gonna devote the most number of hours there.
Yeah.
And then
you don't take care about yourself either.
So
and you're not efficient at work either.
For me, my current priority is the number one priority is myself.
Exactly.
Because if you're not healthy and your mind is not right, then nothing else is gonna work. So your family, your immediate family, and then maybe something else, maybe your hobbies, but your work, it needs to be 3 or 4.
Exactly.
And then from there, that's when you're gonna say at 5 p.m. or at 6 p.m.
It's off.
I still have a lot of stuff, but I'm just gonna close the computer and I'm gonna continue the next day. So
at what age did you realize, that
too late.
was too late?
Too late. And that's it. I mean, it's okay to make mistakes.
Okay.
That's the other thing. It's like there's a lot of things I regret, but I mean, having regrets and learning, it's okay. I mean,
you keep on learning.
You don't have to be perfect, and I'm still making mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm still experimenting with things. Some things, I mean, some systems that I introduce at work don't work.
Okay.
And you change directions, and it's always the idea that your balance is dynamic. So for me, that's easier than trying to find, okay, so I'm just gonna do the same thing every single day. I do have, a routine. I do have a routine, but sometimes I get 7 hours of sleep, but it's not always possible to do that. And sometimes I don't feel tired at night, and I know I have to go to sleep, but I'd rather just watch a video. And you're gonna be tired the next day, and that's fine.
Yeah, because you enjoyed the video and that you
Yeah.
like your decision. I mean, you're choosing, like you're saying, you're choosing what
Exactly.
you feel like. You listen to your body, you listen to your mind, and you're like, okay, it's fine for today. Maybe tomorrow I'll sleep a little bit earlier and then compensate, right?
Exactly. And if you see like now on social media, it's like, what I do in a day, and how I train, how I eat.
Yeah.
Well, you do whatever works for you.
Exactly.
And like to me, it's like having those goals. I'm almost 50, so at this age, you start thinking about, it's an age where you start looking, ahead. Your
Okay.
parents are. My father died in 2022. My mom is 73. You start looking at them, and you start looking at your children. My children are teenagers, and you're kind of like in the middle, right? So, really, the routines and whatever was worrying you about, whatever you were worrying about when you were 30, is really not that important. But it takes time to, to realize that
And by that you
your
mean
law
like
firm,
that,
your
like
company,
exactly the work.
Yeah.
Because I feel like whenever you're 20s, now it's earlier, whenever you're 20s, 30s, yeah, it's your hustle era. Like you need to work, because you have the energy, because you have your little kids and stuff like that. But I feel like now with all the tools that we have and all the information that it's out there, you can also change the game, and do it smarter, right? Like that's.
Yeah, but my most stressed clients are clients in their 30s.
Yes.
Because they have young children, and they're stressed about what's gonna happen with their life.
What would you say to those people that could help, or nothing? Just hustle.
Just keep going, but I mean, unless you really wanna build like a mega empire of mega companies, then most of us are gonna be, regular people. I mean, I don't have any expectations of leaving behind this big firm that everybody, admires. That's not my goal. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if I want to retire. That's another thing that I started.
You like working.
I like working, and I think I want to keep doing this for as long as I want. So that took a burden, because I was like, I don't have enough saved for my retirement. Well, you're never gonna have enough. So, but the other thing is like, do I really want to retire?
Exactly.
So,
you don't have to.
I mean, but I at the same time, I'm like realizing, I started getting interested in woodworking, for example.
Okay.
That requires a lot of time, a lot of
Woodworking how?
patience.
Like-
Woodworking, like building a table
Oh,
made out
okay,
of wood.
okay.
I'm like, how do you build a table? So I started like researching, and I would like to do that, but it's not because I want to
professional
save or because I want to start, it's just because I want to do
Try it.
that. I just want to build something, It's like people who are my age or whatever, and they discover they want to start playing guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
So those little things are what bring joy to my life.
Yeah.
Along with my family, and that's pretty much it. So when you think about it, it's like what brings joy to your life. Your family and your hobbies and the things that you enjoy are gonna bring you more happiness than your work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're saying, it's hustling up, like balancing between all of your areas in your life, that matter to you, honestly, because people have different approaches to life. And some people are like, no, I just want to, like you're saying, build an empire and I don't care about anything else. Then you're doing the right path by just working all the time. But even so, I feel, even if you say it like that, I feel like, like you were saying in the first place, you always need to be first, because that way you can be good on your mind or your body and your actions to do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to work all the time, if you want to travel all the time, you still need to be good on your health and on your mind to be able to do it regardless, right? So yeah, it's that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I feel like I was telling you before, everybody sometimes feels like their world is the only world or the only way, or what the society sets you up for. But then you realize with all this information that there's so many ways, and that you can if you start one way, you don't have to stay necessarily, and not to be inconsistent, but just to try and see, hey, what works for me, and then to hustle it up, because yeah, it's going to require work, it's going to require learning, it's going to require understanding and managing, because you don't decide when you fall in love, you don't decide sometimes when you have children, you don't decide, like, things just happen sometimes,
right?
And they change the plan, and you got to be able to, like, perform, let's say it like that.
Yeah, so I come from my parents were the baby boomer age where, they were like, okay, so your life basically is you go to school, you graduate, you get a job, you work there for 35 years, and then you retire with a pension, and that's pretty much about it. Yeah. So my dad's, I guess, dream was that I grew up in Mexico in an oil town where the Pemex, the oil company, was basically like main employer, and my dad's dream was that all his children worked there, and nobody really wanted to do that. So, but he was really stressed about the future and your income and your retirement.
Yeah.
And I think basically, I see people here in the States that for example, they're woodworkers or they're artisans or they work in landscape.
Yeah.
They make a good living.
Yes. Yes.
And they enjoy things. So now we are in an age where it's kind of hard to really just do one thing.
Yeah.
And pensions don't exist anymore. But then also the idea, I don't like the idea of retirement and like just playing golf every day and just kind of like waiting for my body to shut down and not using it. So I want to continue challenging myself, and that's why I organize concerts and I try to. My mistake is I get involved in too many things. Yeah. So sometimes it's like, okay, I need to simplify, and then I need to concentrate on 1, 2, and 3, and it's okay to simplify, and sometimes it's okay to make it more complex and try different things. And again, the balance is lost many times, but as long as your main balance is like, okay, like that you're not putting too much on one of your priorities, I think you're gonna be fine. But the day-to-day balance is never gonna be the same.
Not perfect.
Because life happens.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to share in here, and I truly appreciate, then again, you sharing all this with us and with me. I didn't know it either. I know you kind of, but I really appreciate it. I think like it is important to share this information and be able to understand that, like you were saying, like each one of us have a different way of seeing life and of working it out and balancing it out. But it's good also to learn, right? To learn from each other and then see what works for you and just have fun and enjoy the ride, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.